Welcome back to Inside Franklin Athletics. I'm your host, as always, Jake Trueblood, here with my co-host, who isn't Nick Wilson. It's Jace Miller this time. How you doing, Jace?
Doing great, Jake. Glad to be on here for the first time. Not my first time on a podcast, though.
It's not your first time on a podcast?
No.
Shout out 300. You guys still doing stuff?
No, that is dead. It is far dead.
That died. Don't look that up. Please don't look that up. Well, I'm excited for today's episode. We are starting out the winter season with senior girls basketball player Kuryn Brunson. How you doing today, Kuryn?
I'm good. How are you guys? Thanks
Not
for
too
having
bad.
me.
Yeah, thanks for being on here with us. You ready to jump right into the questions?
Yep.
So we'll start off just you guys play Indian Creek tonight. What are you looking forward to in this game? What are you what's like your strategy going into the game?
It's definitely just to play our game. You know, we like to play fast, get buckets. So, you know, we're looking for a high-scoring game. We definitely need to focus on defense more. You know, we can score at will. We can do whatever we want on the offensive end. It's getting stops on the defensive end that we need to focus against. So.
And for those of you who don't know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Franklin was the best three-point shooting team in the nation last year, correct?
Yes.
So we definitely know how to score. So, yeah, that makes sense to put a lot of emphasis on defense this year for sure.
And going off, you guys play Indian Creek tonight. I know some of them have been coming to watch you. How's it different this year with teams actually scouting and watching you, not being like, oh, they're the underdog, like coming out of nowhere team?
It's definitely different because like last year it was like we played our best games against other teams, but now it's everyone's playing their best game against us. So you can't have the flat starts like we have against HSC, and we can't have the flat starts like we had at Columbus North even. We definitely just need to pick up the pace because like you said, like teams coming to scout us, like they're seeing us play, and we just have to be ready. Like you have to come out 100% every game or else you're going to get beat.
Definitely. I mean, I wasn't able to go to the HSC game, but I was getting updates on the scores, and I hear 10-1 we're down. And then, I mean, I didn't get to check the score for a while, and all of a sudden I just heard we were up like in the fourth quarter. And it's like our team is just so dangerous, and we can just go on a run because 1-3 turns into another 3, and then it's contagious, and it's just quick and fast, and all of a sudden we're up by 20 points. It's nuts. So we're definitely a dangerous team if you let us get out there and score and run with the ball, for sure.
Right, and I think it's another thing. Teams are, like you said, kind of scared and preparing. Like you said, they're playing their best games against you, and that's totally different mindset. Like you have to live up to that potential.
Right.
Yeah, I remember last year when we were – I mean, I knew we'd be pretty good, but then all of a sudden we're playing in semi-state, and it's just like everybody's like, whoa, I didn't realize we were this good, like this quick. You know what I mean? I figured we'd be this good next year. And so you're coming from this surprise team to being like that top dog now, especially after you beat a team like HSC, who was – weren't they number 5 in the state?
Yeah, I think 9 or 5, something like that.
Have they released new rankings since then?
I'm not sure. I don't really get into that.
Right. I mean, that's also a good thing. Like, they're just another team. It's a good mindset to have.
Exactly. That makes sense. So, obviously, you guys have added 2 really strong players, and Ashlyn Traylor and Addie Walker,
yep.
Correct? I always get their last names mixed up. What's that been like? Because they obviously bring a whole different set of skills to the team. A lot of us are just them. You guys are three-point shooters, but these 2 like to drive in a lot. So how's that mesh together?
I would say like the first few weeks, like it's hard. Like, you know, they're coming from teams where they've had to carry, like, you know, I mean, I'm not discrediting Martinsville at all, but like, you know, they were their leading scorers. So they're coming here where like we already had like a style of play and they're trying to mesh in. I mean, I'm impressed by them. They meshed in pretty well. I mean, they give us good offensive, but their defense, man, that it picks up the intensity. I mean, we put Ashton on any ball handler and you're like, dang, like can't even have room to breathe. And like it definitely helps everyone else because like I said, like our emphasis is on defense this year. And so having those 2 come in and be feisty, like go at it, like whatever type of attitude, they definitely give us that push.
Oh, definitely. I remember, I believe it was the Perry game. Ashlyn had 8 steals. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
She's not even playing in the fourth quarter because you guys are up by so much.
Right.
It's nuts.
And it's good to have a 2-sided thing like that, like dual threats. It's,
right.
You know, you always want to be multi-sided. So.
Right. And I mean, as like another team, like I always think like how do teams scout us? 'Cause, I mean, you have to worry about a shooter and then you have to worry about 3 drivers.
Right.
Like what are you thinking right now?
Right.
So what's it like when you have 6, 7, maybe even 8 girls that could all just all of a sudden just explode and have that like 20-point game? What's it like having a girl, just one of those girls could go off on any given night. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's scary. I mean, it's exciting. Like, like we have, like you said, I mean, I'd give us even 12 girls, 8 to 12 girls that can just come in and get a bucket. And I mean, it's tough. Like, like there's no drop off. Whereas in years past where we've had that drop off where you couldn't play the bench. But like, now this year, like we have a team full of sophomores that have just stepped up and played their role. And then we have Ashlyn Adeline coming in, and it's exciting.
It's almost like, well, I mean, it kind of is like a dynasty now. Like,
Yeah.
you are, I would consider you guys a super team. Like if you were looking, like say the NBA, you get, what
Right.
LeBron's built out in LA, but I would say you're a super team. So,
Going back to those sophomores, I mean, you guys have Erica Buning, who is just a bruiser, always going to get every single board down low. But then you've also got Scarlett and Lauren, who just shoot lights out. It's insane how much depth you guys have at that age. And, I mean, that group's been together for a long time, and they've been dominant for a while. But, I mean, it's insane how, you don't normally see all of a class stick together and throughout high school, not have people, like, quit and drop off like they haven't. So they're definitely a really good class that supports you guys out a lot.
so moving on, like with the younger sophomores and stuff. Speaking of getting those younger than them, you had your own basketball camp stuff. You tell us about that.
So on my basketball camp, I really just wanted to reach out to our youth. I mean, I remember growing up, like seeing like Maya Elliott and like Delaney Hill, like, they would talk to me, like acknowledge me, like it made me want to go harder. Like, oh, I want to be that big kid that like gives back to the youth. So I had some of our high school girls come out. We put them through games, kind of like a showcase. We played scrimmages, did drills. I mean, we talked a lot. I mean, we got to know them. And, like, now these kids come to our games, and, I mean, they're asking for autographs, pictures, like, just to be that, like, role model, that inspiration. Because, like, I have 2 little sisters, so I know the impact that it makes to, like, know the big kids. Because they're always like, oh, man, I know Lauren Clem. Or, like, they flex on their TikToks that they know the whole girls Franklin varsity basketball team. So, I mean, it's just the importance of giving back and, leaving an impression that's bigger than basketball.
Right. And that also builds it up for the future, like when they get to high school and stuff. So
Yeah, you want to keep that culture going. That was your senior project, wasn't it?
Yes.
That was a good idea, be able to do something like that for that. So, Kuryn, obviously you've had Coach Sable your whole varsity career. Was Coach Winsel there as well?
Yes.
And then you guys had Coach Clem last year, and now he's off the coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
So how have those coaches really helped you out, like personally, you with your growth throughout your career?
They just always have my best interest at heart. I can go to them for anything, recruitment-wise. Coach Sales helped me put together videos, send it out. Coach Winsel, she's definitely the one screaming in the gym. Doesn't have any
I can see
filter.
that.
She'll just be honest to you. She doesn't care. So I guess that helps us as a team as well, not just me, but just having that person that you can like turn around and just be angry with, and like they'll give you that same energy back. It makes you better. So yeah, I definitely say Coach Sable helped me on the recruitment side, and Coach Winsel was definitely just on me all the time. And then we got Coach Armstrong within the last year or 2 years, and he came in from Perry. I think he had taken a year off. And, I don't even think he expected us to be as good as we were last year. But just he's won state championships. He's played with WNBA players on his team. So I think just having that wisdom and that, like, knowledge, like, it makes us better as a team. So
Definitely. That makes a lot of sense.
and Coach Clem's a competitor, so you better be winning if he's on the coaching
I was
staff.
gonna say, you can tell he's a competitor. I've seen his TikToks. So.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what they're playing. He's always competing.
Oh
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I mean, he was my first basketball coach ever, so I
Wow.
give him pretty much all my credit. I mean, I don't think I would have the mentality I have if it wasn't for Coach Clem.
Right.
So you're obviously a senior now, but did you have, because you played a lot of varsity your freshman year, you started, didn't you?
Yeah.
Did you have like a welcome to like varsity moment where like something maybe like hit you in the face and you were like,
Oh,
whoa.
yeah. So, my freshman year, we're at Mount Vernon. Yeah, we were at Mount Vernon. And they had this guard. She graduated last year. So, she was like a junior when I was a freshman, maybe. No, she would have been like a sophomore. But anyway, she was big. And I remember I had probably like 20 turnovers in the first half. And I'm just thinking, like, man, like, can I just get going, please? So I finally get, like, a few baskets under my belt. And I'm like, okay, like, this is basketball. I'm good. And then finally I go to change directions, and she just hits me. And I'm like, stuck. And I'm like, I've never played with this. I mean, like in the AAU level, of course, but in school ball, in middle school, we dominated. Like there really wasn't a team that was like tough for us. So I'm like, geez, like this is everywhere now. Like I'm not just getting easy baskets anymore. So definitely the first game of the season hit me right out the gate where I'm like, this is faster, this is stronger. Like I never took weights for granted after that.
Right.
So do you have a favorite place to play? I mean, it might be Franklin, but personally, I'm not the biggest fan of the Franklin gym. Do you have like a favorite gym to play in?
That's tough. I really like, of course I love our gym. It's our home gym. I don't like the way it looks, but like I like the atmosphere, the fans, having all the little kids there, you guys there. It's fun. But I definitely like B&L. B&L at regionals was probably the best place we played. Having that student section that took up their entire side bleacher, like cheering against you. Like most people would be like, "Oh man, like they're cheering against me," or I was like, "Oh man, they're cheering against me." Like I'm gonna get a bucket. But yeah, so I definitely B&L at regionals, definitely my favorite.
That's Bedford, correct?
Bedford North Lawrence.
I remember that game. That is a cool gym. That was a great atmosphere. That was awesome to be at and see you guys win that, and especially because Bedford was home that game.
Right.
Like a lot of times you don't play home games after sectionals or even in sectionals, but that was nuts.
And we had COVID the entire year where it was parents only, and then all of a sudden it's boom, sold out, fans all the way up the bleachers, and you're like, geez.
Yeah.
So, Kuryn, obviously you're a really good basketball player. Do you have any aspirations? I would assume you have aspirations for college. I think you touched on like recruiting earlier. Do you have anywhere you're maybe looking at going? I know a lot of people don't want to like go out here and say, but
I'm definitely looking to get far away from home. I love Franklin, lived here most of my life, but I'm also like to travel and see different things, and I want to play basketball in a new atmosphere. Indiana, where basketball's life.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm looking about somewhere in Florida and another college in North Carolina. So
dang,
D1's the goal, but I also have HBCU dreams. So
there you go. That's awesome. Do you think WNBA is in your future?
Definitely have to get a lot better if I'm going to WNBA.
Hey, you never know though.
I'm not against it. I think if I develop through college, that could be an option. But
would you play overseas?
Oh, I would play overseas. I would travel overseas, play there.
Well, on behalf of us here, Jake and I, and thank you, Kuryn, and the Grizzly Cup Network, this is Inside Franklin Athletics. I'm first time guest hosting, Jace Miller. This is Jake Trueblood. Thank you.